Now we're going to go over to the interchange west, and we're going to set out all these cars. So obviously they're going off the layout. They're going to go, so theoretically going to another location. All right, and then the train departs there with 7 cars, and then I go over to page next page over to page 2, and it comes back to Middletown, and these are the cars that it ends up coming back at the Middletown yard. And then once I do this, once this train runs, okay. Over here, I've got, this is a safety button for me, because if I push terminate on this, it thinks they went around and moved. So it's going to set them all where they ought to be, and I'm not going to be able to find them. I have to go back in here and look for them again and get it reset. So I always leave it on reset till I'm running. But if I come in here and I push terminate, now if I go over here and I push terminate there, once I finish that run, those cars are where they're supposed to be in that move. And it moves those cars to those new locations. And it changes them. If they were full and they went there, they're changed to empty. If they were empty, they're changed to full. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
What about icing? Icing's a stop that nothing changes.
Do what now?
What about icing? Ice house.
Ice house, it would, yeah. They would come into ice house either. Those cars might just go in there and get full. It would just be a stop for them in there. Yeah. Yeah,
So
you can limit that. You can limit that to where because you can tell it to loaded or unloaded. You can tell it what it needs to do. Yes.
Do you build your train like with switch? Are you building a train in the yard and waiting for the load?
I do it each one. I'm just a process person. I do one at a time. I'll build it and then run it. Now with the club, we may want to have it's up to you all how you want to do operations. You may want to have a yard master that comes in and builds the trains, okay? It's up to you all how you want to run it, or you can have them preset and have them all sitting on 9 tracks ready to go, and all the operator has to do is bring his engine, put his engine on his caboose, and go. Okay, so that's what's so nice about it. You can do it any way you want.
We're going to use cabooses in the new operations?
I wouldn't, because I'm a modern guy, but these guys run these things that. And so let's go back to trains again. Let me go back up here to trains. Let's say, for example, on this one, let me go back to reset. Let's say on this one, I looked at this one, this is what it's doing, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Something about it, maybe I was there the last time and I don't want to do that. All I have to do is go back over here and hit reset. Let me settle down there. Hit reset, and that train's reset. That train's no longer built. I've removed that train from being built, and I go back over here and rebuild that train. Now that train's already it's been rebuilt. There's 14 to 35 cars now that go on that train. That's how fast it reset that whole route. So if I go in here now and go to preview, there's the new route, or the new train for that route.
Where did it just find all those cars?
It went through the whole layout. It goes through every possible car.
But isn't that route set up for specific stops already? See, you lost me now. The original train before you reset it. This
was
route set up to go to a certain stop.
This is the same stops. It's just different cars. It's pulling them from. It's either it may be dropping another car there, whether it was picking one up before, or so you see some of them didn't even have a pickup. We went through there and we didn't pick it. Maybe this time through we pick them up.
Yeah, you had 6 up there before that first block.
Yeah.
You got 8.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes a location it will put a car there. Next time it won't put a car there. One time it'll pick one up and it won't pick one up the next time. So it's just totally random.
It's like having, like on a car card, we have hold for load or hold for.
Exact. There you go. Exactly. It's good example, John. Yeah, good example. And you can do stuff. You could actually go in here and tell it to hold it, take it out of service. You can do all kinds of cool things.
What happens if you pick a car off the track? Take a car off the track.
You screw it all up.
Well, you take it off if you. I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Well, let's say you couple broke.
Well, a couple, but you can go in here and mark it as being in the shoot. What's the name of the?
Bad order.
Huh?
Bad order.
Bad order. Yeah, you can put a bad order on it, so it won't be picked. Okay. A lot of guys, when the guy I was listening to on one of the videos, he's redoing his whole layout. So almost 75% of his cars he doesn't have in service because he's redoing routes and stuff, and so he doesn't use them. And he's got them all marked off. They're not pulled. Okay. Hopefully that didn't complicate it or confuse you too much. But again, basically, you've got really, 4 or 5 things you're working with. You're working with, after you do your setup, then you're working with locations, cars, routes, and trains. So, we're trying to, make it fun to set up trains. We've got trains with commodities on them. We want to have routes for them to go and move cars around and move stuff around to different locations.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Why don't you use locomotives or use that option?
Some guys do. Some guys assign locomotives, like sophisticated guys like Russ assigns his engines. He would have his engines assigned. He could do that. He can come in here and assign the engine with the train.
Okay.
And then they would go and they go to the yard, and the hostler would bring out their engines, and they'd put their engines on the trains and go. You can do that.
That's a dedicated engine for that specific.
Or it could be pulled out of the pool and just go. You can do that. Everybody suggests that you start small, and then because this thing is so powerful, you can get lost in the weeds here and not know what the heck's going on.
So you can take, when you enter your stops, you can match commodities to stops to cars.
You could. You can actually do, you can do, and you got to be careful there. You can do specific loads if you wanted to, but again, it gets to the point, it may stop moving some cars for a reason. You're going to have to go back and search through the program and find out why is that car. And here's another thing too. I don't know if let me show you this here. This is what it does. See this right here? It says moves. This car has been moved 13 times, and it's really kind of a misnomer, okay? Because if I reset it, it counts it as a move. But it goes back and to your point, Mike, it picks the car with the least number of moves possible, okay? Because it wants to move the cars. It doesn't want them to stay in the same spot. So it's going to go through here and say, okay, if it had a choice between a car that had a 1 on it and a car that had 13, it's going to pick the 1 car.
If that car fits.
If it fits what you've asked for. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not going to send an oil tanker, to a mulch yard or a gravel yard. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty slick system. It's pretty cool. It's fun. I mean, and I looked at the time it took me to set up my car cards. Once I learned how to do this, it didn't take me any more time to set it up here than it did in the car cards. And I don't have to mess with the car cards every time by flipping them over and pulling them out and setting my train up to go. I just come in here and pull me a.
Carrying it with you while you're.
I'll carry them. Yeah. You have one sheet of paper, maybe 2 sheets of paper.
JMRI automatically back up everything that we do.
Yes. You do it. There's a backup, and it goes there. Okay. And you can also go in here. I can, and I don't know if I show you. All my engines are entered in Panel Pro. And I can pull them over into here automatically because it's linked. Digitrax, there's a demo on here. Also, when you go in, there's a demo file that you can download when you get in there and you load this up that has a fictitious layout in there that has car. You can move them around and everything, play with it before you actually put your stuff in there if you want to. But you can run it off of mine's set up to run off a Sprague. I've got a Sprague that runs off this. I don't hook this up to my layout at all. Yeah. I mean, I can, and there's a Digitrax connection. You can go in there, and I can through my Sprague will hook up to my layout and run on there, but I don't have to do that to run this program. As a matter of fact, I don't even have to have that on there to set this program up and run it by itself, okay? It's not.
It just prints switch lists.
It's just going to do switch lists and keep track of it.
It doesn't need to be directly connected,
no,
unless you're programming or something, but that's a whole different aspect of JMRI.
Yeah, and you can't, and the power behind this is hooking it up to your layout. You can theoretically run your whole layout, switches, your signals, everything off of JMRI. This thing is incredible, and it's out there, it's free. And the cool thing is, if you're on a screen in here and you need help, you get lost, you go to the help, and it'll pull the actual instructions up for that particular area, your page you're on.